Hello, it's Ian again this week, Ian Wood. I hope you're doing well and welcome to this online lecture element of the module this week. So let's get myself out of the way down there. So this week, the key question we're going to be asking is what is news? Now I'm thinking you will already have been talking about this very subject with other people, and it doesn't hurt to go over it several times because it's a fundamental question which you need to be confident you can answer, because there are times when you're asked to do assessments and to do tasks which rely on you understanding what news is as opposed to just other kinds of information and other kinds of journalism. So just want to do that to make sure I record this session, which I have. This is what we're going to do today. So I'm just going to go through, give you a little bit of a reminder about the assignments, because it's now been a couple of weeks since we introduced the module. So I think it's now time you start just trying to get things in order and get yourself organised for the assignments, even though I'm sure they feel like a long way away. Then we'll talk about this question of what is news, and maybe think about the significance of news as well as a strict definition, and that will then set us up nicely for the workshop or the seminar in which we'll be doing some more news writing. So first things first, the Ipso Editor's Code. I mentioned this in week one. So this is the rule book basically for the way we work as journalists. So this, alongside the Ofcom ethical code, are the way that we organise ourselves and the way that we and the rules that we adhere to. The Ipso Editor's Code, Ipso is the Independent Press Standards Organisation, sets out that framework for things like accuracy and the way that we treat people, the way we treat children, the way we treat vulnerable groups, and all of these sorts of issues. So please, if you haven't done it yet, please click on the link that's in Blackboard and read this. It's one side of A4, so there's one cup of coffee long. So get hold of it, give it a read, so that way you've got a clear understanding of what the rules are. Just to remind you, with the ethical approval, you did sign to say that you understood that you would be operating within this code, so you need to have a good understanding of it. So kick off then with assessments. First assessment is a news writing test. So you've already had a bit of a crack at some news writing now by the time you're watching this. So you've already tried out essentially the basics of a news writing test. So the actual test is an hour and 30 minutes long, and it happens at 10 o'clock on Thursday, December the 3rd. So we're going to be practicing these. You already started. The key pattern, as you already will understand, is that you get a brief bit of information and you write a short story for immediate online publication. You then get additional information, which then moves the story along. It always changes the nature of the story, and you write a longer online news story on the back of that. So that's the basic pattern. That's what will happen in the test, and that's what we'll be practicing over the coming weeks. So you will get plenty of practice. There'll be plenty of examples on Blackboard, so don't worry about it. But you do need to turn up, and you do need to do the exercises. So that's 70% of the module rests on that assignment. So it's important you get that right. And the reason we put so much emphasis on it is that it's a fundamental skill. Whether you're a broadcaster or an online or print journalist, you have to be able to write news. A broadcaster needs to be able to write news for a website. A print journalist needs to be able to write for print and for online. So that then brings us on to the second assignment. So you have a bit longer to do this one. So you don't have to hand this one in until 4 p.m. on Monday, January the 11th next year. So who knows what will be going on then. But one thing I do know is that on Monday, January the 11th, you'll be handing in your second assignment. It's a critical analysis of a news story. So we'll be talking about news stories as we go through this module, and starting to think about the different ways that the same story is treated on different platforms. So this module focuses on print and online publishing. So you need to be looking at the way that stories are treated in print and on online forms, both in terms of web publication and with social media. So start asking yourself the questions of, is the writing style different? Are they using different pictures? Are the headlines different? Just start thinking about those differences, because that's what I'll be asking you to look at as part of this critical analysis. There's also a log you need to fill in for that assignment, and in that you'll be talking just briefly about some other news stories you've looked at, and also just to confirm you've watched a council meeting. I know it sounds a bit boring, but it's actually a really important and useful source of stories. So I'll provide you with links. If you go on Blackboard, you'll see there are links, and also in the assignment brief there are links to watch online council meetings. And just to stress, I'm not expecting you to actually go to the council meeting. I'm expecting you to watch the webcast, which are available online, and the links are available on Blackboard and in the assignment brief. So you will be expected to watch a council meeting. You can choose a relatively short one just to make it manageable, and I'll be asking you to summarise what was said and to come up with some ideas of how you might follow it up. As I said, there's a log, so there's a little snapshot of what the log looks like, and we'll go through that in more detail later on in the module. But you'll use this blank template, and that's available on Blackboard in the module. You'll fill that in just to make sure you cover everything that's needed. So your critical analysis and your log will go on there. So the assignment briefs, I keep mentioning these, you'll find that in the module information section of the module on Blackboard. Make sure you read those. They're very clear instructions on what you've got to do. So if you're sitting there thinking, I don't know what assignments are or when they've got to be in, first port of call should be to look at the assignment briefs. Okay, so that's the first part when we've talked about the assignment reminders. I'll pause there and move on to a separate video to talk about what is news, just to keep things nice and short. So I'll end this video now, and then we'll move on to what is news.